Hey everyone, my name is Charlie and today I have my TBR for the Believathon run by Gavin of Gavin Hetherington. I believe its full title is the Believe in the Impossible Readathon, but the idea of saying that immediately terrified me somewhat because I knew I'd slip up. If you didn't know, Gavin is a rather humorous booktuber who I recently discovered, maybe quite earlier this year. It might be a while actually. Anyway, usually I watch his vlogs whenever they come online. You know, they're a perfect accompaniment to having your tea after a long day at work. He reads a lot of middle grade fiction, and so this readathon is all about celebrating middle grade books. If you didn't know this about me, I am currently working on a middle grade novel. I first wrote it 6 years ago, had a minor breakdown, came back to it 2 years ago, and now I'm hoping to finally finish it before the year's out. So during this readathon, probably whilst I'm reading loads of middle grade books, it only seems appropriate that I also try and finish writing my own. I'd say that this readathon did inspire that somewhat. Now, as with all readathons, there are a few prompts, and I might have gone out of my way to purchase some more books and call it an excuse, but I hadn't bought any books this year. And my family were not being kind to me, and no one would say, you know what, Charlie, we didn't buy you any presents this year. I'm not bitter about it. I quite like these prompts. I like what they've made me pick out, and whilst I try to pick mostly magical books because they are my favourite in terms of middle grade, there are maybe two that slip through the net that don't have magic in. The first book, of course, is to read a book with magic, and as I say, any of them could fit for this prompt. However, I have gone with The Boy Who Went Magic by A.P. Winter. I'm not really sure what this book is about, except it has a character named Bert who's having this series of mishaps, and then one day this somewhat mechanised young girl comes into the situation. At least that's what I'm getting from the blurb. I'm looking forward to this one. I hadn't heard of it before, whereas I had heard of the rest of the books I've got here, and I'm really hoping it's going to be great. I'll try not to say that with every book. Obviously, whenever we read fiction, we're always going into it with the intention of really enjoying ourselves. Next, we have a book that features myths and legends, and for this, I ended up buying a book and then discovering that it was actually on the list in the compendium, and that is A Darkness of Dragons by S.A. Patrick. This seems to have the Pied Piper of Hamelin, someone who has played a illegal spell, and dragons. I'm here for it. Next we have a book that features real world issues, and I don't yet have one of those. I will have to look at the library when I'm next there. But I do have a book that I couldn't find anywhere on this list for it to go, and that is The Nowhere Emporium by Mackenzie. And I mean, I could twist this and say that it's talking about the real world issue of capitalism, because this Nowhere Emporium has appeared overnight and it's like wanting to draw people in and, you know, take the coin off the parents for the children. I don't actually know if it does that. It could all be free, but really what's free in life? So that could be sending the wrong message to children. This one, it says open for business. Business. Open for... You don't have a free business. You don't. So, yeah. If I don't find another book next week, we're reading this one and it's about the dangers of capitalism. Next, we have Read a Book Set in the Past. Originally, this was the one I thought about using for real world issues, and it is The Garden of Lost Secrets by A.M. Howell. And so, October 1916, this girl called Clara is sent off to her aunt's house, an aunt and uncle, because of the war. And reading the back. There's loads of secrets. There's a dark room. There's a boy who's apparently mysterious. I got vibes of The Secret Garden when this was first recommended to me by my friend Lily. And yeah, looking forward to it, maybe, possibly. I don't really do well with the ones that don't have magic. I don't know why. I just like magic. It's the whole reason I read middle grade. Next is to read a book with a strong sense of friendship, and for this I chose Pages & Co. Tilly and the Lost Fairytales by Anna James. I read the first book last year, particularly enjoyed it. And admittedly, when I read the first book, it was because I worried about some similarities that may have occurred with my own children's book. And quite happy that they weren't there. Quite happy to report Anna James wrote a fantastic first book in a series, and I'm looking forward to getting to this one. And I really do think that the friendship between Tilly and Oscar was done really well, and it's one of the great things about this series. Next we have to read a creepy or atmospheric book, and I had to actually go to the compendium for this and went with the list that's on Twitter. And for this I chose A Pinch of Magic by Michelle Harrison. This has 3 sisters, a curse, 3 objects, and, you know, it mentions magic again. I think this has been a popular one amongst younger readers and middle grade lovers, so, you know, it speaks for itself, really. Next is to read a seasonal book, and for this I chose The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson. I read The House with Chicken Legs last year, really thoroughly enjoyed that one, and with this I believe we're getting some more of that Russian mythology with this young girl called Yanka. No idea what the story's about, putting a lot of faith in the writer just because I really enjoyed that first book. Next was to read a book with an animal character, and for this I chose The 101 Dalmatians by Dodie Smith. And originally I was choosing this for a classic, and then I thought, no, let's read it for this one, because, quick story behind this. When I was younger, I asked my mum what her favourite book was when she had been my age, and she said this book, and then out of nowhere it appeared in my school library, so I borrowed it, I read it that evening, thoroughly enjoyed it, went straight out and bought a copy, and it has now been 16 years since I read it, and I still haven't read it despite the fact I called it one of my favourite books as a child, so I'm looking forward to revisiting this one. Next is to read a children's classic, and for this I have chosen Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. This is a bit self-indulgent because I need to reread this book because of my own children's book, because again I might possibly reference Peter Pan a fair bit in that book, and so this is really a research thing, but I also really like the story, so what can you do, really? Next is to reread your personal childhood favourite, and for this I've gone with Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling, simply because I've already started it, and so I'd like to finish it in November. I've only got to the Horace Slughorn chapter, so don't be mean to me. And then we have the group book, which is Frostheart by Jamie Littler, and I'm already 130 pages into this one. I'm planning on finishing it before November, but I just thought I'd mention it. Gavin has been championing this book since he got the ARC, and honestly, I am adoring this book so far and want everybody to go out and read it as well. And I'm hoping that I actually find some books here that I could do that with as well. So them's the books. Have you read any of them? Would you recommend any of them? Are you participating in the Believe in the Impossible readathon? If so, let me know your TBRs, tell me what you're reading, link me in the comments. I'd love to see all your videos and get some more middle grade recommendations. I'm really looking forward to the month of November, and I hope that you are too. And I also hope that you have enjoyed this video, because until next time, that is all.